Hello, Dodger fans. Welcome to Dodger Wrap 360 here on the AfterBuzz TV. It was a little bit of a rough week for the Dodgers, going 2-4. Let's talk about it, and especially these games against the Giants. You're watching AfterBuzz Dodger Wrap 360.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, Dodger fans. Whew, rough week this week. Rough week. 2-4 week. 2 losses to the hated Giants over the weekend, and both rough, bad losses. And no bats against the Rockies this week. The bats were very quiet. Thinking 3 games, we had 10 hits altogether in 3 games. Whew, where are the Dodger bats? Do they need to pick up another bat? Justin Turner looked like he may come out of his slump a little bit. You know what? That nice home run the other day against the Giants, but today, nothing from him. It's been an ongoing problem. The Dodgers and their lack of scoring. I mean, as a team, they are only hitting 232. If this continues, right now they're 28th in the league, not far off from being dead last. If this continues, it will be their worst average as a team since 1989. What can we do? What can Turner Ward, the hitting coach, and some of these guys do to help the Dodgers with better situational hitting? I mean, today alone, AJ Ellis came up, 2 guys on, no outs, double play. It just seems to be, it's a pattern. It's not an anomaly anymore. This is a pattern we have. It's rough. I mean, people talk about Ryan Braun being out there. You know, maybe you give up somebody to snag him. I mean, it's a lot of money left on a deal, but hey, you never know. You need a consistent bat. I think that's the biggest problem. The Dodgers lack consistency. It's it's just one of those things. When you look at the just teams that are consistently good, you look at the Cardinals, you look at the Cubs. They don't seem to have these issues. There's something about the Dodgers, and this has been an ongoing problem for years. This isn't just this year alone. This has been a problem that we've seen as fans for, the last 4 years, this lack of situational hitting. You know what? Let's bring in Mike Conley to help us figure out this hitting situation. Hello, Mike.
Whoever's in there now, I think it might be Mark or Matt, but
hey, Mike.
Steve did the last show, and he had to click something on the switchboard
Mike, we're live.
in order for me to hear him, but I was able to hear Ben the whole time. And
Mike, can you hear me?
I can't hear Joshua or
Mike, can you hear me?
The engineer on this one.
Hello? Conley, can you hear me? Hello? Okay. We're still trying to get Mike. He is back in Boston visiting family, so we're still trying to get him on the air. A lot has been made about the Dodgers bullpen. The Dodgers bullpen has actually been better this year than the Giants. The Dodgers pen has entering this weekend series had a 3.12 ERA versus the Giants 3.69. The bullpen is actually not the Dodgers' problem. It is the bats. It all comes down to the bats. Just this lack of hitting with runners in scoring position. The other day against Samardzija, the Dodgers left 8 men on base, 7 in scoring position. This has just been a theme for the last few years, and no one seems to be able to figure it out. We've had Mark McGwire, we've had John Valentin, we've had Turner Ward. No one can figure this out. Where do the Dodgers go from here? That's why I bring up the question of if Ryan Braun is out there, even though I believe he has $95 million left on his contract, do you bring him in? Who knows? You're eating up a lot of money, although you did just drop a lot of weight losing Crawford and Alex Guerrero. But it's the biggest problem facing the Dodgers, in my opinion. The bats. Forget the bullpen. The bullpen has actually been pretty steady. Adam Libator has been great. Casey Fine has been great. Jansen had 2 shaky outings against the Giants, even though Friday he got the save, but he did load the bases. Saturday, if you were watching, you all saw that he blew the save, his 3rd blown save of the year. but this one hurts a little more because it's against the Giants and it stings, especially with Agon, hitting that monster home run in the 10th inning, Turner hitting that big home run to tie the game in the 8th. I mean, it was that one stung a little bit. Like if Jansen had blown that save against anyone else, it would not have been as bad. So that's the question. Where's the help going to come from with the bats? I mean, maybe they'll come around. Maybe Puig will figure it out. Puig is starting a rehab start tomorrow in Rancho Cucamonga. So if you're in the area, you can actually check him out over there at the Quake Stadium over there in Rancho. I don't know what the answer is. This is tough. This is the one where we can't see help down the line because with the pitching, you can see help down the line. Urias, who pitched amazing today, I thought. Yeah, he gave up the home run to Brandon Belt, but he was honestly amazing. 7 strikeouts today. He had 18 strikeouts in 14 innings, which was great. I mean, imagine when this kid really learns how to pitch. He's only 19. This kid learns how to pitch. I think we got something special. You got Frankie Montes, who I think is a wild card and who I believe will be up, not out of the bullpen. I think this guy is going to be a starter within the next few weeks here. With Urias on a strict limit, pitching limit, I think you're going to see Frankie Montes come up. He has been killing it in the minors right now. He went from excuse me, I lost my train of thought. He was projected to come out of the bullpen. Buster Olney now expects him to start in the rotation. I think you'll see it because with Urias on that limit, you're going to see Montez up. I think you'll see De Leon up, who has been pitching again. He was injured, coming back. Brandon McCarthy pitching in the minors on Monday. Ryu allegedly is supposed to start a rehab start, but we've all seen how that goes for Hyun-Jin Ryu. So pitching is not the issue, but we have no bats coming around. None. Grandal's hitting below 200. I don't know if AJ Ellis is Ellis is a good catcher. He throws people out, sees a lot of pitches per at bat. Not great with the bat though. Oh boy, it's just this hitting is just an issue. Oh wait, I think we have Conley coming in. Mike, can you hear me?
I got you a little bit, Josh. Here, it's going to be faint, but I can hear you a little bit. How's everything, my man?
Oh, everything's good. I was just talking about how the Dodgers pitching is not the issue; it's the hitting.
You're absolutely right. And, it's unfortunate that, Conley, the guy who's been impenetrable all year had to take that tough luck loss yesterday and a real heartbreaker for the Giants. But, it really is. You got to point to the hitting in that instance. I think they were 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position and left quite a few people on base.
Yeah, they left 11 people on base total, 8 in scoring position. 8! And Samardzija was not good. He went 4 innings, 7 hits, I think 3 walks, and they only got the 2 runs. I was posing the question earlier, do the Dodgers need to go after that Ryan Braun? Do they need to bring in that bat? Because they're pitching right now, as a bullpen, their ERA is 3.12. That's not, that's better than the Giants. Yet, against the Giants, I looked this up. This is, in the last 3 years, they have scored 3 runs or less now 13 times, and they are now 3-10 in those games. They just are not getting it done with the bat, and I don't think it's not great pitching by the Giants. They just are not hitting. It's not Bumgarner, Kershaw. It's not that level of pitching. It's been mediocre pitching and really poor hitting.
Yeah, and to be honest, Josh, it's really kind of the same old Dodgers, This is kind of the way they've been the last 3 or 4 years, where their big question marks are back end of the rotation, the bullpen, and situational hitting. And so you look at the bullpen, a much maligned group and somebody I've lambasted very regularly on this program, and you look at what they've done, they've improved every month.
Yeah, they have.
Had an ERA, I think, in the high 3s in April. In May, they had one in kind of the mid to high twos. And then so far in June, they have like the best ERA. Going into Saturday's game, I think they had the best bullpen ERA in the majors for the month of June. Now, sure, that's a half a month sample size, not even. But it just shows trending in the right direction. Maybe we're kind of getting some of those pieces. But the situational hitting is just a sad state of affairs, and one that continues to be an Achilles heel for this Dodgers team.
Yeah.
The thing is like, I just don't think Ryan Braun is the quick fix. I mean, it's good to point that because he has a track record of being able to mash, but he also has a track record of, bold-facedly lying to people saying he wasn't taking PEDs. So I'm not in a hurry to bring that guy in. And, I know it's kind of like people are looking for a consistently productive outfielder, where with Puig going down, and Jock being kind of up and down, and there being no Ethier. But, maybe Trace Thompson is the guy that's emerging as that. I'm a big fan of his. But the bullpen has been kind of turning it around a little bit. So the thing is like, none of these old timers are hitting. It's like,
no, they're not. I mean, I thought Turner actually looked good in the first two games. I'm like, He might be coming out of his slump a little bit. And then today he laid an egg again. And in fact, he got ejected today for arguing that called strike 3 against him in the 8th inning. But every time that they show signs of life, it just gets zapped away within a game or two. It's that quickly. And I don't know what to fix. Maybe Ethier coming back will provide some stability and consistency to the lineup. I mean, who knows? I
think you just got to assume that these guys, the Gonzaleses, but especially Turner and Kendrick, are going to, perform more to their norm. I mean, these guys are like 280 hitters that are hitting like sub 230, And it's really sad because Turner, June is usually when that guy starts to turn it up.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have right now, catcher is a hole with the bat. Grandal's below 200. Ellis is what Ellis is. He's a 220 hitter who, he sees a lot of pitches and draws a lot of walks, but he's a 220 hitter.
He's Kershaw's caddy.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you give Austin Barnes a shot? Can he swing the bat?
If Grandal is not hitting, why not give Austin Barnes a shot? He's proved his versatility earlier this year, playing even second base and outfield for this team. And, that is one of the good parts of this team is they do have this versatility. You just got to play the guys that hit. I kind of like what Skip's doing with Turner, just try and get him going by putting him in different spots in the lineup.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe the spot in the lineup for him is further down and just like kind of say, hey, just keep playing good defense, or he muffed one today, but, play good defense and the bat will come around and, maybe he'll stop pressing a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Well, before you came on, I was mentioning that in regards to the bullpen and the Dodgers pitching staff, it looks like Urias pitched great today. I thought he was great. Absolutely fantastic. He had 7 strikeouts again, just like he did against the Braves. Actually, 18 strikeouts in 14 innings. When this kid learns how to pitch, I think he's going to be special. I really do. He's
fantastic. Just seeing what we did. He's not taking the world by storm like Fernando Mania or anything like that, but he's had 4 starts now in the majors, and he's improved in every one.
Exactly.
And he's doing it against some pretty heady competition.
Yeah, talk about throwing someone to the wolves. You stick him out against the Cubs, the Mets, the Mets, then the Cubs, and now the Giants. 3 of the best teams in the National League. This was trial by fire, and I thought he actually came out of it pretty good. I thought he
definitely did. It seems like the things he has to work on, he's going back, and in his mid-stop bullpens, he's working on those, and you can kind of see it. It's like he had, kind of a problem with the walks. I think he had 4 or 5 in his first start.
Yeah.
And then what's he had? 1 walk in each of the last 3?
Yeah, he cut down the walks, and I still think that strike zone was a little small for him against the Mets. Personally, I watched that game, and it was a lot of questionably close calls there, but but he is striking out guys on a Kershaw level. He really is, and so even in that first start, he still had 3 strikeouts in the 2 innings. I think something like that. So I think he's going to be something special. He's still learning. The guy's only 19 years old. I mean, I'm so glad that the Dodgers never got rid of him.
Kind of a bummer, and we've this kind of goes in hand when we've been talking about this guy this year. Is his innings limit? He's probably going to maybe pitch 60 more innings for the rest of the year, and then he's going to be shut down.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see Frankie Montes as a starter. Buster Olney was talking about it the other day. He's been just destroying the competition right now in AAA, so they're going to start upping his workload. I think he's going to fill out that back end of the rotation if I don't think Ryu's coming back. He's supposed to rehab again starting this week. We'll see how that goes. McCarthy did throw for the Quakes in Rancho. So maybe McCarthy comes back. Wood's still out, so I know the Dodgers aren't high on Bolsinger. So that's why I think you're going to see Montes up here to start, and I think you're going to see De Leon up out of the bullpen. I think it's what's going to wind up happening here towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I think it's kind of anything goes with like that fifth starter spot, maybe even the fourth starter spot. I think you're going to see a group of about 6 guys revolving in and out of that spot due to innings limits, ineffectiveness, what have you. But Montas is a guy that we really kind of kept our eye early on in the season about him potentially helping in the bullpen. But he's been pitching so great at AAA that you got to lengthen him out and look at him, give him a real look as a starter.
Yeah, it'll be curious to see what they do. I'm hoping these bats. That's the thing. For 4 years, we've been hoping these bats come around. They don't seem to click at the same time. They just can't seem. When you see teams like the Royals last year, they're hitting guys only hit 280, 270. It wasn't like they were lighting the world on fire, but they were all hitting at one time. And you're just not seeing that with the Dodgers. You don't see them as a unit just hitting at one time.
But not only so much as hitting all at one time, but even just hitting at the right time. Getting those guys. Gonzalez is hitting 284. For the season, which is pretty good. But what's he hitting with runners in scoring position? Probably less than 250.
Yeah, and normally he's a plus 300 hitter with runners in scoring position. Yeah, they're just not delivering. And people blame McGuire last year. He's gone, and it's not like it's going to make a difference. I believe his team's only 5 points higher than the Dodgers, 0.05. Not the Dodgers hitting 232, they're hitting 237.
Right.
So it's not. It's just. I don't think there's anything Turner Ward can do. This seems to be just a collective issue with the Dodgers, as it has been for years. It's just an issue they have that it's now become the white elephant in the room. It's no longer the bullpen to me. It has become the hitting, the situational hitting. To me, that's now the biggest white elephant, elephant in that room now.
No question. And it's like, what do you do in this instance? It's not like these is the young guys that aren't really hitting, and you just sit them down and put in another young guy and see who really gets going. The young guys have been great. Seager's been great. Thompson's been great. Jock, is trying to find that consistency still, but is still a great talent.
Yeah.
And is playing a good defensive center field. But it's these guys, Kendrick, Turner, and Gonzalez, guys that you look, and even Grandal to a lesser extent. That he's not in there certainly because he's a good receiver.
Yeah.
He's in there for his bat. If we're not getting any hitting out of that, catch a spot, I would rather see Bonds or even Ellis.
Yeah, at least Ellis takes pitches and draws walks on occasion. With Grandal right now, the sole reason he's in the game really is for hitting, because as a defensive catcher and even as a game caller, I think Ellis is better in both respects. So it's just frustrating as a fan.
Yeah. Hey, did I see that Corey Seager played a little catcher this week?
I did not see that. If he did, I missed it.
The extra inning game versus the Giants, was it Saturday?
Oh, you know what? I believe you are right. I think they did throw him back there.
I think he caught like the 10th inning.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's speaking of which, we should talk about the draft because they drafted a catcher.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that because I mean, it doesn't get the fanfare that the NBA and the NFL draft get, but you know, it is your yearly opportunity to try and pluck some young talent to bolster your roster.
Yeah, and curiously, they took a kid from not the University of Wisconsin, the state of Wisconsin, because he's only 18. Shortstop with their first pick. He is a pure shortstop. He's got a good arm. His name's Gavin Lux. It's curious that they took him. Does that mean, because they have no second baseman of the future, really. So does that mean Seager or him could potentially move to second? I wonder if that's the thinking down the line.
You would think. I mean, I think that you just got to draft those hard-to-find positions. You got to think if a guy's athletic enough to play shortstop, he can play second base no problem, you know? It's kind of like going that route in football where you just don't draft safeties. You just draft all corners, and you convert corners to safeties, you know?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Although, speaking of trouble with the bats, they do say that Lux has trouble with his swing. They think his swing's going to be a problem at the next level. But they did draft a catcher with that, the baseball draft gets complicated, but you know how they had that 1A pick? They had the round one and then 1A. They drafted a kid named Will Smith, who, from all accounts, is pretty similar to Austin Barnes.
Is he from West Philadelphia?
Yeah, born and raised. I think on the playground was where he spent most of his days.
That's it.
No, he's from, he played at Louisville. But it's a
good baseball school these days.
Yeah, it is, and that's why I think his stock rose. I think he's been playing. He played well down the stretch here for Louisville. It was curious. Although he is athletic, he's got above average speed. He's got a good arm. He didn't actually catch that much in college. He played a lot of infield. Even some pitcher. So it's curious. He seems to be like Barnes again. Like Barnes, he's a multi-positional guy. So I'm curious. He seems like a solid pick. They took, oddly enough, the first time in a few years they have not taken a pitcher first in the draft. Normally they always go after pitchers. The guy they drafted last year, Bueller, is that his name? Walker Bueller, I believe his name is.
Bueller.
I believe he had Tommy John surgery, so I think he's pitching again in the minors now. So he didn't pitch last year. So it's it's curious that I think baseball doesn't get the fanfare because there's how many rounds in baseball do you pick?
Oh, I think they pick until they're tired, honestly. I think I remember Piazza was like a 57th round pick.
Yeah, I remember that. JT Snow also was a late round pick, wasn't he? I believe for the Angels back in those days, way back then.
Oh, wow, was he? Man, that was a nice score by them.
Yeah, they got Tim Salmon and JT Snow, I believe, in the same draft, actually.
I think you're right.
Those Angels teams. But yeah, Piazza.
I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there that might have been the 87 draft. But, maybe it was 86.
Was it that? Might have been.
Might have been. One guy I did see they picked up. They picked him up later on in like the 32nd round. But what I read on him was he ruptured his esophagus last year eating a steak.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds like something Mama Cass did. Back didn't she? I know it wasn't true, but did she have a heart attack while eating a ham sandwich? Isn't that the story?
Who's this now?
Mama Cass from the Mamas and the Papas.
Oh.
The rumor was that she was so big.
I don't know, man. You know that better than I.
That was quite a pull for me, but especially considering that was before my time. But they did take two pitchers right after Smith and Lux. A kid named Jordan Sheffield, who pitched for Vanderbilt just last Friday. Didn't pitch great, but he's 6'6", I believe. No, he's not the 6'6" one. They took one pitcher. What's his name? Dustin May was the pitcher they took. That's like 6'6", 185 pounds, looks a lot like what's his face from the Mets.
Noah Syndergaard?
No, DeGrom. He looks like DeGrom.
Gotcha.
Lanky frame.
Got the flow?
Yeah, lanky frame. He's got good velocity, good hard slider, but rumor is he has some delivery issues they're going to have to fix. Sheffield was the kid they took out of Vanderbilt.
And Vanderbilt, past 10, 15 years, ever since David Price went there, that's been a pretty good hotbed for baseball talent.
Yeah, aren't they in the college? I believe they're in the College World Series right now. Is that what's going on?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. My squad, Boston College, got bounced out today.
So, and he didn't pitch very well, but he's got an electric arm, but he's some command issues that he's going to have to work out. So, pitchers are plenty coming around. I was really hoping that with that 20th pick in the draft that they would have tried to snag the biggest bat they could have, regardless of position. Just a guy who can rake, because they really need someone who can rake. And it seems that they just can't seem to get a guy who can do that.
It's kind of tough because, in this league more than the other two, and this is probably a big reason why, those other two drafts get a little more fanfare. It's more apt that kids are going to be able to come in and kind of make an impact on the Major League roster right away in those sports, as opposed to Major League Baseball, where you're looking at these kids that are coming out of high school, and you kind of got in the back of your mind that, they're not going to college, but they're going to go to college. They're going to go to college in the minor leagues.
Oh, yeah.
So you kind of think about them as kind of a 3 to 4 year project down there. So it's less about looking at hitters or if you need pitches and all this stuff, and just all about, stacking depth throughout every level of the minors, at every position.
Which the Dodgers have done a great job of in recent years. I mean, their best farm system right now. They have done a really good job with that. Now they need to start thinking about putting it together. And that was I mentioned that to you, was it last week or the week before, where, are they really built to win this year? I said at the beginning of the season they were at best an 85-win team, and I'm sticking to that. That looks kind of like what they're going to do. And it really has nothing to do with the starting pitching. It really has to do with the hitting. I mean, it's
true. It's true. And the only thing I can tell you is to kind of take solace in, and to tell all the Dodger fans out there, it's like, just keep in mind these guys, these veteran guys that have hit in the past and have long careers of hitting in the major leagues are not hitting right now, and the Dodgers are still sitting. Even with the loss tonight, I believe 2 games over 500.
Yeah, and 5 games back of the Giants.
So that's about that 85 win pace you were talking about.
Yeah.
And they still really haven't started hitting the ball, especially in those situations that we've been talking about, runners in scoring position with 2 outs. And you just got to hope that that's going to turn around. I mean, Justin Turner's the type of guy that at times over the past 2 years, has carried this ball club for months at a time.
Oh, yeah.
We just need a kind of the semblance of that type of hitter to take hold. And to Howie Kendrick being the on-base percentage guy and, 285, 290 hitter that we've come to expect rather than this 225 version.
Yeah, and Kendrick was a doubles man. I mean, he's a gap hitter. I mean, that's what he does. It's because it's not the power numbers that concern me. Power numbers. The Royals won last year with how many home runs they had? I don't even think they had. Did they have a guy hit 20 home runs last year? I
wouldn't be surprised if they did. I think maybe Hosmer got there or Moustakas, but just barely.
Yeah, so it's not the power numbers. It's the situational hitting. It's but still, again, we're not seeing guys really move. We're not seeing guys run. I mean, the Dodgers are so bad in stolen bases. They're dead last in the league. Maybe we got to try to jumpstart it a little bit.
And it's kind of shocking to me to have a guy like Dave Roberts, a guy that has on his resume the biggest clutch steal in postseason history, wouldn't stop running these guys and try and make some things happen.
Yeah, I mean, so is it him or is it management telling him not to run these guys? Because as we know, management likes to butt in with the lineup. So it's hard to say. You just don't know. I actually think Roberts is getting better with handling the bullpen. I think he's improving.
Well, the numbers have proven out.
Yeah, at the very least, he has stopped using Baez, which makes me happy. Well, Baez is one of those guys, much like the Dodger hitting. Oh, he's got good stuff. He's got good stuff. He just hasn't put it together. Yeah, it's been 3 years. We have not seen him put it together yet. He has a fastball. That's all he has. And if it's not moving, it's meat. It's just there across the middle of the plate.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter if it's 99. If it's right down the center, these major league hitters are going to hit it.
Yeah, they're gonna crush it. So I'm happy with that. Knock on wood. Aside from the game against the Cubs, Liberatore has been amazing. Casey Fine today worked around a leadoff triple today. And Liberatore came in for the hold. It was a nice piece of pitching by both of them. So. Yeah,
that Casey Fine thing, man. The Casey Fine. Yeah,
Fine.
We'll call him Fine because he's pitching fine right now. But those are the type of under the radar moves, which is why you pay your scouting department to be able to pluck these guys, and like able to kind of tinker with your bullpen there. So you're not in a situation where at the deadline where you're kind of held over the barrel, and all of a sudden you maybe deplete some of that first-rated farm system for guys that, aren't really that good, but because it's a seller's market, whether it be arms in the bullpen or arms in the starting rotation, that you get raked over the coals in a deal, and that would be unfortunate.
Yeah, and actually that brings me back to Montez, who was within that deal for Trace Thompson. I mean, the Dodgers were just the facilitator for the Todd Frazier deal. Sending Frazier to the White Sox, and it turns out they might have gotten 2 legit starters from that deal.
And that's a feather in the cap to the scouting department.
Yeah,
because you look at a guy like Trace Thompson, and it's like Frankie Montez. He had some shine as a prospect, but Thompson, his minors numbers are not impressive in the least. It seems like he's one of those odd guys that doesn't start hitting till he gets to the major leagues, and the Dodgers are one team that's thankful for that.
Oh yeah, especially this year because it allowed them to cut ties with Crawford finally. So I mean, if nothing else, remember Trace Thompson is the guy who did that. He was the one who allowed the Dodgers to move on from Carl Crawford.
That's it.
So I do believe no one has claimed him off waivers. I know Guerrero, I think, was outright released. Alex Guerrero. So Crawford can't be too far behind here. Probably tomorrow, Tuesday, he'll be given his outright release. Although with Crawford, I can see teams like a team like the Angels, who need some hitting. The Tigers. There's a couple teams out there who I think will take a flyer on Crawford, especially if they're not paying his salary. I think.
That's what my next question was. So a team does pick him up. It's still the Dodgers playing the full freight on something like that?
Yeah, if he's outright released, I do believe the Dodgers have to pay that salary.
Wow.
If someone picks him up off waivers, they don't.
Yeah. Well, you knew that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. But I could definitely see a few teams, in the mix, even teams in the mix taking a flyer at him. Even a team like the Cardinals might take a flyer at him. They've been struggling scoring runs too. I mean, today they had a nice game, but they're what, 2 games? I think they're the same boat as the Dodgers. I think they're 2 games above 500. So
they've been playing better baseball lately than the Dodgers, though.
That's true. I mean, this was the Dodgers hitting against the Rockies. Aside from the second game when they won 4-3, the other 2 games it was so futile. I believe in those other 2 games they had 5 hits total in 2 games against the Rockies. It's the Rockies. That was just pathetic. I mean, there's no other way to say it. That was just sad. It's not like the Rockies have lights out pitchers. I mean,
yeah, that was very sad to see the
Maeda pitched
2 out of 3 at home.
Maeda pitched amazing.
And Maeda's start, they just wasted it.
Yeah, he pitched great, and they just wasted that outing. It's Kazmir didn't have his best stuff yesterday, but he got out of it. Actually, Kazmir, most of the damage to his ERA is done in the first inning. If he gets out of that first inning, he's going to be smooth. If he doesn't, it's going to be a little shaky. But I believe 25 of the runs he's given up has come after the first inning. That's about 56 innings that he's only given up 25 runs. But in that first inning, he gets pounded. That's where the majority of his runs come in.
Yeah.
So if you go to Kazmir games, just hope he gets out of the first inning. He should be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because it looked like he was turning a corner there, a week and a half ago. But now he's like getting back in, and when he walks guys, that's going to be a problem for him.
Yeah, that's his issue is the walks. If he's missing like that, he's in for a long game. That was Kershaw actually at the beginning of his career. If Kershaw was walking guys, granted he still was only giving up 2-3 runs a game, but that was usually when it happened. Was he got in trouble with walking guys? Ryu's the same thing. If he starts walking guys, and Ryu's a lot like Kazmir. Ryu always had one bad inning in the first 3 innings. That was where he got in trouble, and then if he worked around that, he was good the rest of the game.
Right.
It was the same thing. Once they start missing, that's the problem, and that was Jansen's problem. Jansen had a shaky outing Friday, even though he got the save, and then he got hammered Saturday, but he was not throwing strikes. Here's a guy who normally that's all he does. He comes in and throws strikes. And Friday and Saturday, he did not look good. I don't know if it's overuse.
I was going to ask you about that.
Is he getting a little tired? Do we got to give him give him a few days rest? Because, he's been so dependable. It is still only his 3rd blown save of the year. But it was, watching it, he was missing, and he was missing bad. He was missing high. His ball just was not moving. And, hopefully it's just a little, 2 games. He gets, he turns the next game he comes in, he'll be fine. But Friday and Saturday, it was dicey there. It was a little shaky. I was nervous for that. You didn't want to waste another good game from Kershaw, who has the best ERA at AT&T Park, since AT&T Park has opened. He has a better ERA than any Giants pitcher even.
Nice. Yeah, I like the matchup tonight. I like the Dodgers' chances in the rubber match of the series. But, Jake Peavy decided to pitch like it was 2007 for some reason.
Yeah, I know.
And, that's a guy I thought was absolutely done. Was kind of out there pitching on vapors for the past, season and a half. And that just goes to show you how quiet the Dodger bats are right now, that guy's doing what he did.
Yeah, and today I talked about it earlier. A.J. Ellis, here it wasn't even Grandal, it was Ellis had a bat at bat. 2 guys on, no outs, right into a double play, off Peavy, who guys have been teeing off Peavy. This was just he was they wasted Utley went 3 for 4 today. They wasted 3 hits from Utley. Couldn't get him anywhere,
that guy's 49. If he gets 3 hits, you got to win that game.
Exactly. Utley gets on base 3 times in game, hits, walks, whatever it is. You got to bring him home at least once.
You would think.
It's I like Seager batting second. However, I've always been a fan of. I liked when the Dodgers had Mark Ellis hitting second. Remember Mark Ellis? Because
sure, kind of a guy that could handle the bat, lay a bunt down for you.
Yeah.
Work the count.
Work the count. Very rarely struck out and very rarely hitting the double plays. So he usually 80% of the time was moving the runner over. And I like Seager so much, but sometimes I wonder if batting him second is the best thing. If you might want to take a flyer on someone like Jacques who can and teach him to throw some bunts down out there. Try to get guys over. Jacques got good speed. But like I said, when they were moving Turner up and down, trying to move things around, mix it up a little bit, try to jumpstart the offense somehow. I
wouldn't mind seeing Seager in that 3-hole.
Yeah, exactly. Move Seager down a spot, see what happens. Just maybe move Turner up into the 2-hole.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't mind seeing you sit Turner. And, I think Utley is still our best leadoff option. And then maybe, play Kendrick at third and have him hitting that 2-hole.
Yeah, just something to try to, if guys get on, start moving them over a little bit, getting them in the scoring position, and then let Seager and Gonzalez, who are your two best hitters right now, try to knock them in, instead of hitting Seager in that 2 spot. So it's it'll be curious to see. I mean, you got the Diamondbacks coming up this week in Arizona. Another big series that they got to show up for this series.
They really do.
It's one of those things. I mean, I believe what you're going to get Bolsinger, Maeda, and Kershaw, I think, against the Diamondbacks, I think is
right
how the rotations are.
Bolsinger, Greinke tomorrow.
Yeah. So, let's see if they can do some damage against Greinke. Although he has been pitching better as of late. So, we'll see what happens. I'm just hoping that the bats come alive a little bit. A little more hitter-friendly park. We'll see what happens.
And then it's back to the Ravine for a 4-game set with Milwaukee?
Yes.
Nice.
Speaking of Ryan Braun, as I brought up earlier.
We're going to get firsthand a look at Ryan Braun, and a guy that's certainly to be moved by the deadline, you would think.
Although he does have $95 million left on his deal. That's a lot of money.
It is. The guy I would kind of maybe want, especially now where we're not getting any hits out of that catcher position, the guy I'd want off of Milwaukee is Jonathan Lucroy.
And hopefully he kind of returns back to form. That wasn't he an all-star? He was all-star, right?
He was an all-star last year, and he kind of got out to a slow start, but he's been pretty much raking the last month.
Yeah. Oh man, so we'll see. We'll have to hope the bats come alive. Turner Ward going against his old team, maybe he has some insight there. Who knows?
Yeah, hitting's a contagious thing, So just got to get one guy going. One of these old farts, and hopefully the next old fart will start hitting too.
All right, Mike. So
I say that with the utmost respect.
So you're going to be in Boston one more week, right? You're going to be back in Massachusetts one more week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then
keeping it down here on the East Coast, and there aren't many Dodgers fans out here, but I'm spreading the word anyways.
Well, that's good. You gotta. Well, no one can watch them on TV here, so.
Nice.
Which one day we should talk about how the lack of them being on TV is going to hurt future fandom. But that might be a story for another time.
I hear you. Hopefully we're talking about Dodger wins next week.
Yeah, me too. I'm hoping. I just like to see some life. So, all right, Mike. We'll let you go as it's this is about 1 a.m. over there?
1 a.m., baby.
All right. We'll let you go. Mike Conley, ladies and gentlemen, he has no Twitter. So I don't know how you want to get hold of him. And me, I am Joshua Gershon. My Twitter is at Gersh13. Please do not confuse me with Josh Gershon, the college basketball scout. That has happened a couple times. That is it for this week on Dodger Wrap 360. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to get at me on Twitter, comment on the show on YouTube. We're open to suggestions. We're open to, little criticism, but constructive. All right, folks. That'll do it this week on Dodger Wrap. See you guys next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.